has gotten thick with broken glass and steel and brick. The aliens are no more. Hear Godzilla's mighty roar. And so the battle was won, and when it was done, he retreated to the ocean. And if we're ever attacked, I bet he'll be back, at least that's what I'm hoping. Yes, he is destructive, partly from gargantuan girth. But as it turns out, you know it could have been much worse. Save the lizard, he will save the earth.
Hello everybody and welcome to the stream. I'm hoping that you're hearing me loud and clear. Let me get over here and switch things around. How does it sound out there to everybody? Does everybody hear me out there? Am I not? Is my sound working? Let me get this working here. How you guys doing? I see we have, there we go. We sort of have my chat window up here kind of messed up, but I think we'll work with that. Anyway, welcome to the stream. I'm going to bring in our guest right here. That is Colorful Keto Dori. And I want you guys to take note of her Instagram. If you haven't already joined her Instagram, please add her like pronto right now, because you're going to have like the most fun you've ever had making like crazy lunatic unicorn milkshakes and stuff. And with dancing. So with included dancing.
Right?
There's that. Anyway, up here on the right, you'll see in the middle of the screen here, you'll see the YouTube and Twitch chat, and down here at the bottom is the Facebook chat. And so hopefully, if you can see that, then you can also respond to questions and answer things as well.
Okay, that's too small for me to see. But I do have it open on my Facebook so I can see what it says there.
Sweet. Excellent. So we should be able to rock and roll with that pretty easily. You guys, if you're liking this, please make sure that you give lots of hearts and thumbs up and share this with your friends, because as we are rolling with this, we want people to get this message, and we do kind of have a really important message today. And I know that I put out some blurbs earlier that we were having a live with another guest, so I apologize to those of you who came here looking for that. But I do believe that Dori is definitely going to do more than her share to make today a super fun time for all of us. So 1 second here. I am trying to get this blurb out here on Facebook fixed, because Restream sent out Restream sent out like a text blast that put out wrong information. That was like the last thing that I wasn't able to fix. And anyway, so our topic today, our general topic, as you guys know, with the format the way that it is, we like to have like an open Q&A. You're welcome to ask any kind of dietary, nutritional, health kind of questions. So that's an open forum, but at the same time, we're going to have a very focused discussion also simultaneously with that. And that is today that weight loss is not fair. And I will use even a biblical example. Okay. The Bible talks about people who are scholars comparing themselves to themselves and comparing themselves against inaccurate role models. and comparing themselves against things that they just shouldn't be comparing themselves to. So we're going to talk today about how that applies in weight loss. And in weight loss, we tend to say, I'm not losing weight as fast as X, as fast as my husband, or as fast as my wife, or as fast as 80% of the people in here who say that they lost 20, 30 pounds in their first 6 weeks, right? Something like that. So we're just going to like put all of that to rest today, because the simple truth is what, Dori?
It's not fair. It's not fair all day long. If somebody told you it was going to be fair, they lied. Like, if you're starting with your husband or your girlfriends and you're thinking, yay, we're team weight loss, and it's going to happen together and it's going to be smooth and everyone's going to lose at the same rate, I'm going to like just burst your bubble right now and say it's not going to happen. I love you. I wish that everybody lost at the same rate, but we don't.
So are you saying that that all weight loss plans are not created equal? Are you saying that all metabolisms are not created equal? I mean, that sounds like a lot of hooey to me.
It's ridiculous. Everyone loses exactly the same, Bryce. You know, everyone eats exactly the same. Everybody processes food exactly the same. Everybody takes in the same amount of calories, puts out the same amount of exercise. So everyone should lose exactly the same amount of time, like weight at the exact same amount of time. It's
really?
Science.
That's amazing. Because like yesterday, I think I lost a pound. So that means that you lost a pound yesterday.
Really? Because my scale says I'm up by 4.
Wow, that sort of screws up that whole thing. So you guys see what we're talking about? It's so ludicrous. For me, that's like saying, because Dori's got blue hair, then my hair, which is secretly under my scalp, is also blue. It makes about as much sense as that, okay? It just doesn't make any sense, because the truth is that it's all completely different for every single person. Now, mind you, that statement is also a little bit too broad, you know, this saying everybody's different, because like the argument that I get a lot when I talk about how, well, you know, type 2 diabetes is caused by sugar, you know, people say, well, everybody's different. Well, in actuality, like everybody's not all that different, right? Because if they were that different, then there wouldn't be so many people who had diabetes that was caused by sugar. It still does the same things, still do the same things, but to a different degree in different people. Let me use an example. Your autoimmune syndrome, it is triggered by inflammation. Your rashes that you get, your psoriasis, is typically triggered by inflammation. Now, different people have different manifestations of how that inflammation triggers in their body. Some people, they have chronic pain like I did for years. And Wendy says it's definitely not. It's not the same. Comparison is so destructive. Yeah. And you know what? You guys are so right. I felt like this was something that we really needed to talk about today. And that was something that Dori and I have been planning on talking about for a while, because it's just like, ever since she brought that up in that one stream, you said weight loss isn't fair, you know, and it's just, you guys are so on the money with that you know that how many times have you been in a group and you've seen this thing where someone says, I'm so frustrated. I've been doing keto for 6 weeks and I'm only down 8 pounds.
My response is, only, girl, we're having a parade. Like, only? You get to take away only 8 pounds? Are you kidding me right now? Guess what? You only didn't gain anything and you lost 8 pounds. Celebrate.
So like my question is like, so when was the last time before that you lost 8 pounds in 6 weeks?
Right?
Just, just say it, or some people, they say, well, they haven't lost any weight. They do feel better, but they haven't lost any weight. And they're wondering why they haven't lost any weight. So I'll just use my own example for that. Before any of the measurable weight, and you guys know that I've got like thousands of videos out on YouTube. So if you guys want to look at the old me, I'm out there. So if you want to see that, I was just looking at one of those this morning, and I was like, okay, that was the old me. So you have to know that at the beginning of my journey, like the first year or so, there wasn't any measurable real quantity of weight that came off like right away. It was a gradual, very, very super gradual thing. But the pain, the chronic pain was still remains the biggest landmark of my journey. So when you're measuring your success, like, measure every success, right? That's how Dori and I have stayed encouraged, right? Is measure every success, not just the one around the waistline, not just the one on the scale, not just the one on the dress size, but my dress size is still the same. It's the same dress size it's always been.
I love it. And I'm going to say this scale is not your friend, period. End of story. She is not your friend. She is not out to help you succeed. She is not there to motivate you. That girl just crushes you down every time. And I did not lose any weight for 4 months. The first 4 months, I lost 0, zip, and nothing. But I felt better. I slept better. I was less cranky. I had less issues with depression. All of these wonderful things started to come together for me before I saw weight loss, long before I saw any weight loss.
So Jackson is over here on the Twitch stream and talking about Curtis Mayfield. And we have Todd Rattel over there. Todd, I keep getting your last name. If you could spell it phonetically over there on YouTube, that'd be great. Ketogenesis, a band formed by Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel, and Mike Rutherford in 1969. Get it? Ketogenesis? Anyway.
Ah, okay. It was a joke. I didn't get it was a joke till the very end.
Nicole Mayfield is over on the YouTube side watching that, and Jackson is still
She's
talking
my
about
girl. I love her. She's always first into all my lives.
Sweet. Well, I'm glad that we have people on all sides of this now.
Yes.
And I wanted to also make a little statement about the BroBryceHealth group. We have been kind of joining forces with the colorful keto community over there. My colorful keto buddy Dori, that group has sort of adopted us as the official science officer, and so I wanted to also welcome Dori as an administrator to the BroBryceHealth group. So she'll be like the fluffy rainbow colored keto police in that group. Anyway, so going on with this weight loss is not fair thing. What do you think, Dori, is the most destructive thing about comparing our own personal progress with another person's?
You will never succeed. Never, 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 never. No matter how hard you try to succeed at comparing yourself, it will never happen. They will never lose the same amount as you. You will never catch up. You will never feel like you're making progress. And you will be making progress. You're going to be succeeding all the way along the way. And if you're comparing with, you're here and so lost that much, you're never going to feel like you caught up. And you're going to waste your whole experience. In all honesty, the joys of the little pieces and the small The small victories are the best, honestly. Being able to sit in a swing for the first time, being able to make it up a flight of stairs and not be winded. You know, the first time you play with your kids at the park instead of sit on the bench. These are real victories. These are things that are going to improve our life, the quality of our life. The size that you wear, the number on the scale does this for your quality of life. 0, zip, nothing. It changes nothing. And Wendy said it the best the other day in my live with her. The scale only tracks your gravitational pull on the earth at that specific moment. That's it.
I love that. That's fantastic. Yeah. And considering like all of the things that are being pulled down to the planet's core by gravity, you know, you're really kind of almost insignificant in that respect. Like you're sort of like dust. Can I bring in one little point? The converse is also true. So for instance, you have people who are absolutely thrilled with their success to the point of literally being sickening to, okay. You know what? They're not just, it's not just that they're too successful. Okay. Yeah. It's that
they're too proud of it.
Everybody else is screwed up because they're not experiencing the level of success that this person is. And so you can be both sides of this. So my take on this is that I'll give you a little insight into the inner workings of Bryce's brain.
Love it.
Aside from the constant echo that goes on inside there. But I used to look at pictures back when I used to do Atkins. I was very successful doing Atkins, and I got down to a really low weight. And I really far surpassed my goal weight at that time, but I also had to work my ass off to do it. And fortunately, keto does not have me necessarily working my ass off to do it. But the whole time after that, like I fell off, and I won't go into the whole story of how I fell off, but I fell off like into like the bottomless pit of the cherry cheese donut. Yes. And so the whole time though, I have pictures of me from back when I was skinny like that, and I looked at those pictures, and that's who I saw as me. So and I don't want to like get into the whole issue of body dysmorphia or any of that business, but the person that I saw inside of me, despite who I obviously was, despite the clothing and and I mean the body clothing that I was wearing, the person inside I knew was that person. That was the person that I saw inside of me. When I looked in the mirror, that was the person that I chose to see. So the person that you choose to see in the mirror is the only person that you really have to answer to in this. You don't look at I can't possibly look at Dori or Dave, or I can't look at Andy and say, you know what, this person's success story, that's my story. Or I can't say that my story is inferior to Dave's story or Andy's story or Dori's story. What I have to say is that I have a certain amount of healing that I have to do in a certain period of time. I look at it like that, honestly. Like if I'm not losing weight,
I'm healing.
I'm healing. And like right now, I don't feel like I need to lose weight. But if I was still on my journey to lose weight, then during that time, I had like months at a time that I wasn't losing weight, guys. And if I let that just frustrate me, then where would I be now?
Yeah.
So we have a few questions here.
Yay!
Vengeance was asking about ghost peppers, if ghost peppers were keto. Ghost pepper powder is definitely keto. But I will say this, if you eat enough peppers of any kind, they do have carbs, and they as long as you're counting them, you know.
Yes.
But as far as like seasoning goes, like you'd have to eat just a ton of ghost pepper powder to have any kind of effect. And honestly, the hotter the pepper, the more savory the pepper, the less carbohydrate count that they typically have. The sweeter peppers tend to have the carb count. And
can we talk a little bit about spices, Bryce? Because I have a few questions about that, and we get that in my group too. Now, I for my own self adopted this. It's spices. I don't use that much, but I do know there are ingredients in there that we shouldn't have. So where's the line on there, Bryce? Like, where do we say, okay, I'm going to do it? And then at what point do we say there are too many ingredients in that, let's make an alternative? And then where do we go for alternatives? Because I don't know how to make my own spices, Bryce.
okay, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this particular topic because me and Kat are gonna actually focus entirely on this next week.
Oh, good. Okay.
The whole "it's not keto" thing is sort of an explosive topic, and
Yes.
But I will say this. I mentioned this earlier in your live too, and that is that you know, things like for instance the Frank's Red Hot seasoning. Okay, now the sauce, it basically just has hot peppers and vinegar in it, and and really that's pretty much what it has. But the seasoning requires something else to keep it from caking, and so there are other ingredients.
Okay, because I buy that too.
You got that too. So that has other stuff in it. And it has more stuff in it than the Frank's. I know this because the store where I work sells it. And,
okay.
And because of the ingredients in it, I chose not to buy it. Here's the thing.
Okay.
This is always a choice. Okay.
Yes.
This is always a choice. So I use the example that my mother-in-law loved Best Foods mayonnaise, right? And she actually asked me the other day, why did you let me eat Best Foods for so long?
Because you wanted to.
I said, because first off, like, you know, I was dragging you kicking and screaming into this thing anyway. And
right.
I did. She did not want to come do keto on her own, but I was like, you know, if you want help, this is how it's going to happen. And if you don't want my help, then that's not going to happen. But this is how it's going to happen. And, you know, it's all going to be like, I'm taking your candy away. I'm taking your canned peaches away. I'm taking your pudding snacks away. I'm taking your Gatorade away. And these things, I just took them out of her fridge, and I told her I was giving them away, but I actually took them down to the dumpster and threw them in the trash. And that's, see, I was going out to the retirement home and cleaning out her fridge. I was bringing her keto food, like muffins and English muffins and flaxseed bread and things like that. And then I was hauling away boxes of stuff and just taking it down to the trash. And I would come back the next week and there'd be more of different stuff in there. And I would just, you know, slowly but surely just kind of worked it away. And then when we got her into where she was living in the house with us, then she was experiencing what it's like to eat homemade mayonnaise, because we are not having Best Foods mayonnaise because it's soybean based. So I didn't want to spend like a whole bunch of time on this, but you know, choose your battles, especially when you're first starting out keto. Don't kill yourself over these details. Trust me, there's going to be plenty of people out there that are just going to be all Nazi on your ass.
They'll tell you.
So you don't have to worry about like beating yourself up. Somebody else is going to be out there doing that for you. Okay. They won't be doing it in my group, and they won't be doing it in Dori's group.
They don't do it in my group.
But, well, I might do it a little bit in my group, but, you know, but I'm just going to be the person that tells you, you know what? That may technically be keto. They may technically be keto, but it doesn't mean it's good for you. Like, for instance, I've heard it said that peanuts are not keto. Technically, scientifically, they are keto. And the reason why is because the only thing required to be in a ketogenesis state is deprivation of carbohydrate. And since peanuts are relatively low in carbohydrate, they are keto by definition. However, if you want to be in nutritional ketosis, the only thing you have to do is deprive yourself of carbohydrate. If you are doing that, you are probably in nutritional ketosis. But it doesn't mean that you're following a healthy way of eating just because you're in ketosis. I can be in ketosis all day long and still be inflamed all the time. So since I choose to live a life that is free of inflammation, then I choose to make choices that steer me in that direction. And one of those choices for me personally was to get peanuts out of my diet. Now that's just to say, like, on a regular basis. If I go to a steakhouse and I see a barrel of peanuts, I'm eating some peanuts.
Yeah.
And Sherry says, I think if you embrace keto, you realize there can be emotional and mental healing as well as physical. Allow the process to work. And Cat Keto says, oh my God, I just said that the other day.
And we
says,
did.
What about garlic powder?
That in our live with Kat just the other day. Like, your body needs some time to catch up too. There's mental things that are going along. And I know you didn't really want to touch too much on your own mental dysphoria issues, but I do kind of want to go there just a little while you're reading comments, because that is a real thing and that can get way out of hand. Now, when I was 290 pounds, my mental image of myself was about 180. I thought I was about 180. I knew I was a plus size girl, but I didn't feel like I was as giant as I was. And when I started to lose weight, that didn't change either. I'm a 7 now, and I think mentally I'm still in that, 12 to 14 range when I think about my own self. So spending a little bit of time looking in the mirror, getting, in tune with your new body, that's important. Do it once every day for 5 minutes. The astonishing thing for me a few months ago was to find my ribs. I saw my ribs. I haven't seen my ribs in like a decade or more, and I was tripping on that. Right, like wait, I can see more than one now. This is so weird, right? And then this is mine.
See? Yeah, it's like
collarbone. I never had one before. And it was weird. When I first got it, I would just sit there like a weird lady and do this like all day long, because I'm like, oh, look it, there's a bone there. Oh, look, I've got a bone.
Yeah, it's a trip. I was just pointing out to my mother-in-law in the car today, she was reaching down to fasten the seatbelt in the van on the way home from church, and she's like groping around, and I looked over and I noticed that her eyes were closed. Now she closes her eyes like almost every conversation she has. She spends half the time with her eyes closed for some reason, and she'll walk around the house with her eyes closed and wonder why she bumped into something. But she's groping around for the seatbelt, and I said, you want to know something really interesting? I said, you can look over there and you can see where the seatbelt goes. And she goes, no, I can't.
I can.
And I said, it's kind of funny what happens when you lose like over 100 pounds. And suddenly you can look over and you can see where the seatbelt used to disappear, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about. Don't say that you don't know what I'm talking about. When you're looking over there and you're like struggling to get the seatbelt in there, and you're afraid to look over there because you're afraid to look over there because you know that when you look over there, you will not see anything. Okay. Yeah. It's like, it was like when I first started out trying to lose weight, everybody asked me, what's your goal? And I said, tie my shoes without being out of breath. That was my only goal to start out with. And Cat Keto says a physical, emotional, and definitely a mental struggle for all of us. I'm a pretty left brain person. You probably figured this out. I'm a fairly left brain person. I have a right brain side that's very creative, and I like to do a lot of creative stuff. Thus, you know, all the artwork and stuff, and the music stuff. But the part of me that controls me is the left brain part, and the left brain part of me is when I would look in the mirror and I would see myself as like the thinner me. That was like the thinner me that was stuck inside the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And yep. I didn't, it's weird to say, I didn't feel like that was distressing to me. You know, it was just an observation for me. Now I know that people get like, I know people that get completely freaked out over it. Like, that's not me. And I am not happy with this, or they see themselves in the mirror as like, far more dysfunctional than they actually are. And that's a really sad state of affairs. By the way, I'm really glad that the Facebook chat is working today, because like last week,
it's awesome.
It was a bummer. Last week, it was like, it's just stuck, and I missed out on like 100 messages that were going through, and they were just stuck. So I'm very glad that you guys are over there chatting away. And this is just like, your steering wheel was so far away all of a sudden, Wendy says. Your steering wheel was so far away all of a sudden.
You can't reach anything all of a sudden. I remember when I first started, and you try to turn, but the steering wheel kind of rubs on your stomach. And, you know, the seatbelt kind of gets one of your boobs up your nose, so that as you're trying to turn, you're like, eh. And then 3 months down the road, you're like, why can't I reach my steering wheel anymore? There's all this space in front of me.
Right. You know, I had a friend up in Portland. I have this friend up in Portland, and he and I were big boys together. Right. And when we're getting into little cars, like I for the last few years, I've been driving this Scion XB. So it's like this little teeny tiny, it's a clown car.
Yes.
So, and he bought our Aveo. So it's like a Chevy Aveo, and it's this little tiny egg-shaped car. And so you have these two big guys big guys getting into these little tiny cars. And I had to teach him like this little trick, right? Like when you as you're getting into the driver's seat, you step in all the way with your right leg, and then you sit your butt down on the seat, because otherwise you won't be able to get your giant thigh under the steering wheel after you get in, right? You have to like step in, like, you know, your leg is the javelin that you're spearing into the other side of the steering wheel. And then you sit down, and then you bring your other leg in. Otherwise you won't be able to get so these are all real stories for real people, right? And these are...
They are. One time I went to a parking lot, and I parked my car, and I went in to go do my groceries. And when I came back, somebody parked too close to my car, and I was too fat to get in my car. I had to stand there by my car and wait for a skinny guy to come. And I was like, dude, I can't get in my car. They left me this much space. Can you please pull my car out for me? And the look he gave me, I felt like the biggest, fattest cow ever. But he moved my car for me. But there was no way. Like, who knows how many hours I'd be sitting waiting until whoever who parked beside me decided to come back. And I wanted to leave a note that said, next time, leave me a can opener. Because I'm fat.
I have struggled with that so many times. Just now I'm glad I have a van that's got a side door, so like I can. But I'm always tripping out. I still have the old me glasses on when I go into a narrow space. I think of like how, I'm carrying something in my arms, and how am I going to turn sideways to be able to fit through there? But in actuality, I don't need to. I actually just get in through there. Todd says the Dunlop disease when the seatbelt.
Oh yes.
Dunlop disease. He's got that
Your
for
belly
sure.
Dunlopped over
Yep,
your belt.
Belly Dunlopped over your belt, right? And
Yeah.
Vengeance says there's metal music keto. And Jackson's taken off. See you later. See you later, Bryce. Bye. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, the church chairs are less hard. Yes.
Yes.
That's a trip when they make these cushions on church chairs that are like this thick, right? And you're really wishing, I remember Sherry knows this too because she went to the same church. In the family room, they used to have these chairs, and they call them the TBN chairs. That's the Trinity Broadcasting Network. These like the Tammy Faye Baker chairs. Okay, so they're these giant, fluffy, like really super ghetto looking chairs, right? But they're super fluffy, right? So like when I was that big boy, I was like spending more time in those than the metal chairs, and then it's a trip to like get to where the thinner chairs are actually okay. It's weird. Anyway, these kind of phenomenons, these are what we're talking about. These are some of the victories that you can measure, right? For yourself, measuring against yourself. So this is something where you're not comparing it with somebody else, right?
Yes.
These are what we call non-scale victories. So if I'm going to put together a glossary, by the way, in my group, a glossary.
Keto words.
Well, they're weight loss terms and keto words.
Yes.
These are terms that, HWC, ACV, all these acronyms that we like to use because we type them over and over again and we get tired of saying it over and over. But realistically, there should be a glossary of terms. In fact, we should make, here's an idea. Dori, we have to find someone. Find someone that can write a browser plugin. Okay. A browser plugin that will instantly highlight any acronym, and the person can just hover over it, and it'll give them a list of useful acronyms having to do with that.
We need to figure that out.
Oh my gosh, we need to have a colorful keto plugin for Chrome. That's what we need.
Yes, something. If you guys know how to do that, send Bryce a message because I'm not technically savvy. But if you know someone who can do it, I can charm them.
Share this video on every single platform that you know of just to try to get somebody to make this plugin. We need it for Firefox. We need it for Chrome. We need it for Android. We need it for iOS. We need it for all these platforms. We need it for Safari, even though nobody in the world ever uses Safari.
Hey, I use Safari on my iPad.
Like I said, nobody uses Safari.
Nobody uses Safari.
All right, we are coming up on the quarter of the hour, and I'm going to do a book giveaway here.
Yay!
So we only have a few books left, and oh my gosh, I'm struggling with it. In fact, we only have 2 books left right now. Okay. So you get to choose from either A, Corinne Netzer's The Complete Book of Food Counts. This is the 6th edition. And I will ship. All you have to do is tell me you're interested in the book, and you have to be in the U.S. If you're in the U.S., I will mail you one of these books for free, and you have to be the first person to say that you're interested. And this book of the food counts. This is from it's from Corinne Netzer. I'm trying to find the date because I find the dates interesting. 2003. So the food counts are going to be, they're going to be 15 years old, but a lot of food doesn't change in 15 years. God knows for the last 50 years, they've been telling us to eat low fat. Good food doesn't change
in 15 years.
Right. Good food doesn't change in 15 years. Twinkies also don't change in 15 years.
Twinkies don't change either. That doesn't make them good food.
That's right. Okay. Also, we have Wheat Belly by Dr. William Davis. This is a wonderful book. He also made a DVD series you should check into. I mailed that off to Jonathan Frensley a few weeks back. And this is Wheat Belly by Dr. William Davis, MD. and this is just a few years old, I believe, 2011. And the message in this is that grain has never been good for you, and that even if you're a person who is not insulin resistant, wheat is still not good for you. And this tells you all the reasons why you should give up grain entirely. And he uses the science to back it up. And I know that it's been that people have claimed to have debunked this for decades, but the science doesn't lie. This is really, really good stuff. And so if you're interested in knowing why you should give up grain, and I'm talking rice, oats, corn, barley, wheat, all of these grains are causing you inflammation, and they're causing you other problems that you may not be aware of. So Dr. William Davis does a great job of explaining that. You can get any one of these books for free just by saying,
no, Bryce, is this book the basis of the wheat belly diet?
Yes.
Because I had somebody ask me in my group today if we also incorporate the wheat belly diet.
No.
And I'm going to say I didn't know what that was.
We do not.
I asked her what the wheat belly diet is.
We do not. However, I'll explain that in just a minute. Nicole does say that she's interested here, I think.
Oh, yay,
let's see if she's the first.
Lovely.
Let's see if she's the first. Let's go over here and double check.
Nicole.
I think Nicole got the book. Nicole got the book.
Woo!
Yay, Nicole. Okay, so Nicole
Go, girl.
Yeah, Cindy, I'm sorry. Last time I mailed off a book to Canada, it costed me $16. So I'm really trying to stick it to. You know what? I will make an exception for Canadians and for other countries if they will fly to my house. I will ship the book to my front door. And
do you know what, Bryce?
You can get
I'm going to put it out there. I live in Canada, and I'm going to say if I won one of your books, I would be willing to have it be COD, cash on delivery. That costs you nothing to send it, and I pay the shipping when it receives.
Well, the other way that I would be willing to do it would be if people want to pay the shipping into the Patreon account. So if they want to pay the shipping into the Patreon account, which, by the way, there is a Patreon link in the description of this video on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Facebook. And if you're willing to support me in that endeavor, that's very helpful. And if you contribute anything other than the shipping, then it would be that would get you into the Patreon Hall of Fame on the BroBryce Health Group. So that being said, I
want to take a moment to plug Bryce's Patreon account, because he doesn't charge anything for the services that he provides, for the help that he shares in his group. So if you guys want to help Bryce share his message, the Patreon account is a great way to do that. And it doesn't have to be a large donation. Every little bit helps.
Yep.
Every dollar that you donate helps Bryce reach somebody new.
Yep. And just so you know, like the software that does this, all of this crazy stuff that you're seeing on the screen right now, costs money. The mixer that I'm using here costs money. All of these different things, they do cost money. And I would do it anyway, because I'm passionate about wanting to help people with this. I would do it anyway. But the more that I'm able to, the more time that I'm able to devote to this versus working the full-time job, the more people that I'm able to help. That's just the bottom line. That's how things work in the real world. The more time that I'm able to dedicate to doing this strictly, as opposed to having to divide my attention between a part-time or full-time job and helping other people, then, you know, you get it.
Well, and I'm going to say, Bryce, you probably dedicate about the same time I do, which honestly is roughly 6 to 8 hours a day. Even though it's, you know, my sideline, it's something I do for free. There isn't a day that I don't dedicate at least 6 hours to keto, to my group, to research, to posting, to making videos, to developing recipes. And in all honesty, my guy would probably tell you it's a lot more than 6 to 8 hours. You know, some days I'm keto from morning till night. I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm full on keto till 11 o'clock at night. We squeeze in what we can, where we can, around our families.
So Nicole, if you want to PM me on Facebook with your vital details of where I'm going to ship off this book, that would be fantastic. And please pick out which book that you want. Wheat Belly is, as Sherry says, Wheat Belly is a really informative book. And you can also get the Food Counts book, which has a very comprehensive list of carbohydrates, protein, saturated fat, all those different breakdowns of tons, thousands and thousands and thousands of different food items. So you can choose either one of those. And you guys, thank you for all of your support. So we have about 9 minutes left. So let's do some rapid fire. You know what rapid fire is, right?
I do. I'm ready. Questions.
So you guys, I want you guys to start firing off serious questions about what you think is important about comparing yourself to other people. How weight loss is not fair. How, this person's losing more weight than you are. Would garlic toast be considered keto? No. Garlic toast,
unless you're making it out of your keto bread. I make garlic toast with my keto bread.
It has to be made with keto ingredients, not wheat flour. So anything with grain in it. Let me address the Wheat Belly question. The Wheat Belly diet is originally William Davis used to be really into the low carb, high fat movement. He is no longer into that. What he is into is eliminating all grains. But he is no longer necessarily just strictly low carb. So that is why we are not following the Wheat Belly diet, because it's not strictly low carb.
Okay.
But if you guys have quick questions that Dori can answer rapidly as we're going through, and I will start firing some off. So what do you think is the most important thing that people need to be measuring or keeping their eye on when they want to monitor their progress?
Do you know what? Watch your clothes. Watch your clothes, not your scale, because your clothes sizes will change. If you want to measure in a form that you can see, use a measuring tape. Do the string method. The string method is just a string where you want to go. That way you're not looking at the numbers. The numbers don't weird you out. You still get to see the progress, but you don't have that evil number in your head.
I will say, don't use your belt. The reason why you don't use your belt as the measuring stick, because your belt will stretch. When you're pulling it tight to hold your pants up, your belt stretches, and your belt actually will fool you into thinking you're making progress when you're actually stalled. So don't use your belt. Use a measuring tape that you don't wear every day, because you're not wearing your measuring tape out on the town. Most people don't anyway, hopefully. And the string, a lot of times a great idea with the string is to take the string and cut it off where it is, and then tape it to the wall, and then you use a new string every time, and that way you have an accurate measurement of your progress.
They're doing that in Wendy's group as a challenge this month. She has a separate challenge group like she did with the no scale in January, and they're doing a string challenge. So that's what they're going to do for this whole month. Everybody's doing string challenge in Wendy's group, and I think it's a lovely idea.
Excellent. Vengeance says, is keto beer a real thing?
Yes and no, Vengeance. Yes and no. Now, low carb beer is a real thing. That's a real thing. Now, if we're going to talk ingredients, there is no keto alcohol, dude. I'm sorry. I don't want to break your heart. But beer is a wheat base, right? It's a rye or a wheat base.
Yep.
So technically, it's never going to be keto. But what I will say is if you get yourself a good low carb beer that's 7 carbs per bottle, and then you half that with a sparkling water, then you get yourself a beer that's 3.5 grams of carbs. It's not keto, but it's low carb, keto-esque.
Yeah. So that's beer. Honestly, you know what?
What else do you say, Bryce? There's no keto beer. Sorry.
You're
but
right.
You can do a low carb beer.
Yeah. And I will say that when I was doing Atkins, I drank Michelob Ultra. And that was, I'm not a beer drinker, so it was for me. And to be clear, I haven't drank in 14 years now.
Okay.
But if I was drinking, I would be drinking hard liquor, because hard liquor is like mostly no carbs. But even so, if you think about hard liquor, a lot of hard liquor is also made from grain and from potato and all those things. But to be honest, the only thing that's not keto about a potato is the starch. So if you're just drinking the liquor, it's actually not the non-keto part of the potato. So anyway, with that being said, so the next thing is, how often do you think people should go clothes shopping?
Oh, here's a good one. When you need new pants, dude. I'm going to say I put that off for too long. I was still wearing extra large underpants and trying to squish them into medium pants. And you can't do that. Like, if you're rolling down your underwear to tuck them in your pants, buy yourself new ones. I'm just saying, you know, if you can fit your fist inside of your bra, buy a new bra. You know, I'm not going to say every 3 months buy yourself new clothes, but when you need them. Dude, if you got no pants that hang on your butt, buy new pants. You know, if every shirt you own is hanging off you, treat yourself to a new shirt. If you wait for 3 months, 6 months, we look like jerks. Like,
if Dori just
needs
painted
to be walking around in pants hanging off their butt.
If Dori just painted a wicked word picture for you with the whole rolling down your underwear to fit into your pants, then please share this video on every space that you have. If you're on YouTube or Twitter or wherever you are, just take this thing, because the world needs to hear more word pictures like rolling down your underwear into your pants. Okay.
Because you could see it. You could just see me rolling down the granny underpants and shoving them into 2 small pants.
I'm thinking of the movie Basketball. Remember Basketball?
Oh, yes.
You know, where they were going through the underwear drawer and he like pulls out he's like thinking the underwear is awesome, and then he pulls out the underwear. It's like huge. Anyway, so yeah. So you guys, I seriously, another one last round of this rapid fire thing, and that is, what do you think is an accurate way to compare your progress with others? What is a productive way to compare your progress with others?
I don't think there is an accurate way to do that. You're never going to compare yourself with others accurately, because their journey isn't your journey. That's like saying, oh, Dori, you make such awesome food and my food isn't as good as yours. I've been cooking keto for a whole year. If this is your first week of keto and you look at my food and go, oh, Dori, I can't make food like you, do it for a year and you will.
That's a great piece of insight. I think that if there is a way to productively compare yourself to others in your progress, it's just to say, maybe, am I making progress? Am I making progress at all, right? Because if you think of all of the things that we talked about today, right? You know, like being a little further away from the steering wheel, being able to see your seatbelt, right? You think about having to buy new clothes, different things like that. If you're making any progress at all, you know, then keep that in mind. If you're not making any progress, then start asking questions. That's maybe, I think that's maybe the only productive thing you can do with that. If you're not making any kind of progress at all, start asking questions. Ask people for help. Is there something that I'm missing? Is there, you know, am I doing
it wrong? I was doing it wrong at first. Most people are doing it wrong at first. Even the people I know who started for serious research were doing it wrong at first.
Yeah, and I was doing it wrong at first. And I took, like, you know, I used to, again, we're getting back into that it's not keto thing, but I ate a lot of like sugar-free products and stuff that I would look at as frankenfood now, but you know what? I also still, at the same time, was still experiencing some amount of progress. And I'm specifically addressing those people who are making any progress at all. If you're feeling like your pain is worse, ask some questions. Don't instantly jump to the conclusion that you're screwing something up, because you may just need to have a closer look. A great example is a woman who did a thing on, I'll put a link in the description if I figure it out. But she was talking about, she had a particular genetic disorder that caused her to not be able to methylate vitamin B. And so when she figured out that she could buy a product that was actually already pre-methylated vitamin B, she got rid of her depression. Her lifelong bout with depression disappeared overnight as a result of this one thing. So, you know, if you're not making any progress, if you're not seeing any kind of progress, start asking questions. Don't instantly ridicule yourself, and definitely don't compare yourself to other people just because they're making more progress than you.
If you have to, like if you're saying you need some stick of comparison, compare with the non-scale victories. So-and-so was able to sit in a swing. I want to do that. So-and-so was able to make it up a flight of stairs. I want to do that one day. Compare those things if you must. If you need some comparison. And I want to say, if someone's weight loss sounds too good to be true, it might be. They might be trying to sell you something. If somebody says to you, oh, in 6 weeks, I lost 40 pounds, they might be trying to sell you something.
They might, yeah. And I was just getting into a debate with somebody over Prove It products. And that was something that I also just added to the questions on the Facebook group. And that was, you know, you're okay with not being able to promote or sell exogenous ketones or any of those diet products, because we're not promoting diet products in here. We don't need diet products. What we need is real food and real knowledge about real food. Anyway, we are getting right on past the 5 o'clock mark, and I'm keeping you too long, but I want to give a great big plug to Dori over at the My Colorful Keto Buddy Dori group. So you guys need to look that up, join that group, and you need to follow her on Instagram. She posts like crazy, cool, fun stuff on Instagram, stuff that she doesn't share with the rest of us sane people. But I want you to definitely subscribe to her Instagram. I want you to go over, also find her on YouTube and subscribe to her YouTube channel. And if you haven't yet, you might, like if you're watching this on YouTube or even on Twitch, you know, give this channel a subscribe too, if you're watching this, because that helps us out with getting us more viewership. The more subscribers that we have, the more YouTube pays attention to us, and so that helps out a lot. And as well, you can click that bell notification icon, and do that over on Dori's channel too. Click that bell notification icon and do that in the group too, so that when people post in the group that you actually see those things. Because our posts, honestly, a lot of times, if you look at the exposure, the insights on a lot of these posts, they just disappear because a lot of people don't even see them, because Facebook's algorithm and YouTube's algorithm as well. If you like this stuff, comment on it, share it, give it likes, give it hearts, go and interact with other people's comments. Like, we're going to go back and look through these comments and comment on your comments. And so when we do that, it helps out. It helps out to engage with you guys, but also, you know, if you guys engage with other users in this group and in Dori's group, that it helps a lot to get more visibility, and it helps to get this message out. This message that ketogenic nutrition is definitely coming up in the world, and that, you know, we need to stop like comparing ourselves with other people.
Yes.
Your final thoughts?
My final thoughts, I'm going to say, focus on positive reinforcement. You know, find people around you who understand the process you're going through and will help you celebrate your non-scale victories. You know what? Have girlfriends who are going to dance in the kitchen with you because, you know, you bought one size pants down. I made my guy celebrate with me. He didn't want to, but I make him. So if you have to find somebody to make celebrate, find somebody to make celebrate with you, because you deserve those celebrations, and I want to know you had them. I want to know. I'm going to be after you if you didn't celebrate.
Vengeance asked, can pizza be keto?
It can be. Oh my goodness, vengeance. Go to my Instagram. Now, the very first time I made keto pizza, I made rainbow keto pizza because Dori and rainbows. So it's this really cool multicolored. My 13-year-old, my girlfriend's 12-year-old daughter, I got to quit saying 13, requested purple pizza. So we made purple rainbow pizza, but it's delicious. Fathead pizza is where you want to go, and I use walnut instead of almond. Mwah, mwah.
And I will give a pro tip for fathead pizza, regardless of which variation of fathead pizza you're doing. A pro tip from a veteran fathead guy who's been doing fathead for a while. Put your sauce on last. Your sauce on last, and your crust stays crispy. If you put your sauce on first, I will guarantee you'll have one of the soggiest pizzas you've ever had. But if you put your sauce on last, the cool thing is it kind of gets a little bit caramelized when you're putting it in the broiler. But you put your sauce on last, on top of all your other stuff.
Do you pre-cook your crust, Bryce?
I do.
You do? Okay. Because I like that pro tip. I never got that tip, but mine never went soggy.
Mine always did, and maybe that's, I don't know, maybe I'm just using a watery sauce or something. But just a pro tip: if you're using a sauce with it, then put your sauce on last, and your crust will be extra crispy, and you'll love it.
Or spoon your sauce on the top. Skip the sauce altogether, and then have the sauce as an added topping at the table.
There you go. There you go. That's another pro tip. Anyway, guys, we are running long, and I wanted to thank Dori once again. And Dori, especially like on such short notice, I appreciate you leaving my frustration with the day. And
all good.
a great way to cheer me up is to get a rainbow-colored unicorn in front of me. So
right.
y'all have a great day. We're gonna sign out again with some wonderful music from Glenn Case, and we will see Dori around the corner over in her group, My Colorful Keto Buddy Dori. So y'all have a great night. Talk to you later.
Bye.
And the sprinklers turn on. That's how I saw it happen in my mind. It will come true though before long. I'm not blind, girl, I must confess. You could scorch muffins if you touch them when you wear your evening dress. I need a glass of water, I need fresh air. I tried to get some loving, but the room is like an oven when you're in here. With the smoke, there's fire, that's what I was taught.